It's setting up. On. Right. Well, it's okay. All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining. This is the THSC 2023-2024 registration makeup session. Obviously with our busy schedules and so on and so forth, not everybody was able to make it to our registration day on Saturday. So we wanted to make sure there's an opportunity for folks to see the content. And actually the advantage, one advantage that you guys get is that you get a chance to ask some questions after the fact, given the smaller session here, but that should be okay. And hopefully we'll be able to get through this relatively quickly. Any questions before we get started? All right. Page 2 here. Agenda for this presentation is that we'll do a quick website update and registration update. We'll go through some coaches introductions. We actually have the coaches there, of course. We don't have them here, but I'll still introduce coaches anyway. We'll introduce the board members. I'll go through who the board members are and their roles. I have some operational updates to go over, and then a discussion on the focus areas that we're looking to improve with the club over the course of this year. So let's dive right in. The first thing that I want to make sure everybody here understands about the registration process. There are 3 things that you have to do in order to complete registration, if you haven't already, right? The first thing is to complete your registration in Team Unify, right? You should have been getting emails from Sydney, our membership board member, about the registration process of Team Unify. If you haven't, please send an email to her. If you have any issues with the registration process itself on Team Unify, you can ask Sydney and she'll be able to help you out with that. I know there were earlier emails about the commit website that we were supposed to transition over. Unfortunately, we ran into some technical issues with that site. We weren't able to get the registration process and the site up and running in time. So we decided to go with what we know right now, which is Team Unify. And then we'll transition over to commit sometime during the year when we've had a little bit more time to make sure that things are working and tested and ready to go. So Team Unify is the first thing to do. The second thing we need to make sure that happens for registration is to complete the DocuSign. So there should have been a second email to sign the parent agreement or contract, as well as code of conduct. For both the parents, we only need 1 parent per family to sign, and then each of the swimmers should have gotten a DocuSign to sign as well. So that's the second thing to do. The third thing is for swimmers that are 12 and older, as well as 1 parent per family. We need you to complete your Safe Sport training. Again, the email should have gone out about that. Right now, I believe the Zoom classes that were available are already over. But the good thing is that there are some self-paced training that you can actually sign up for through the USA Swimming website. I believe the links should have already been sent out. So those you can take on your own time. And our ask is that you complete all of these things by September 18th. I believe that's this weekend. If you don't, then your swimmer may not be able to practice that Monday. So please, please, please take the time over the next few days to complete these 3 steps so we don't have to miss any practice times. Any questions about this? All right, if not, I'm going to go for it.
Sorry, one question. Sorry.
Sure.
For this process, let's say, okay, I start to do like registration like September 1. By then, usually how long it takes to go through the whole process? Because you said that the due date of the registration by the end of this weekend, right? We have only a few days remaining.
Yep. The Team Unify and the DocuSign are relatively straightforward. If you want to read through the documents a little bit before you sign it, maybe it'll take about half an hour or so to go through it all. Safe Sport, however, is from what I understand or remember when I took it, is about an hour to hour and a half for the safe sport training. There are videos, there are slides that you go through. So you want to allocate some time for that.
Oh, there's no like kind of like a gate for like for your side to do like a kind of the approval process. As soon as we spend a time that as far as we do what we're supposed to do and spend a time for like watching the video, it should be good. Is that right?
Yeah, once you take it, it should be fine. Yes.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
And then the thing about Safe Sport being online training as well, if you happen to get interrupted while you're doing the training, it saves your location as long as you've signed into your USA Swimming account. And so you can come back and jump back into it where you left off. So
Right.
that's one good thing about Safe Sport. So if you can't do it all at once,
No response
you
to
can
it.
take it. Was there another question?
Mashallah, mashallah.
Oh, all right, great. Thank you. All right, let me move on. Coaches. Most of you, if you were already signed up before registration or coming back, will have seen the announcement for Coach Franz about the coaches and coaches assignments. I'll go through them here for those who weren't part of the club before him. So Franz is our head coach. He's a longtime coach, very well regarded in the USA swimming community. Has coached at the Olympic level as part of the Olympic team in the past. He is our senior 1 and senior 4 coach. Coach Kevin this year is now our head age group coach. He's been with the club for a number of years, and Coach Franz has been helping him out, training him, sending him to various age group seminars and whatnot. And so he is this year our new age group head coach. He is coaching senior 3 in AG2 Black. Coach Jody is one of our new coaches that we brought on board this year. He's had many years of experience. He's also a past swimmer at the, if I believe, at the Olympic level. And he is going to be head coaching senior 2 and assisting with senior 1. Coach Emily is new. She is coming off of college right now, swimming competitively in college, and is really interested and excited to learn what it's like to be a coach and start her career off that way. And she will be assisting senior 1 and senior 2. Addison is also a relatively younger coach. She's coming in with some experience from Minnesota, and she is going to be coaching AG1 Gold, as well as help out with the administrative side of things, dealing with entries, helping with website communications, and so on and so forth. Coach Stacia is with us for the 2nd year now, but she's a veteran coach, has been coaching, has years and years of experience, as well as being a swimmer back in the day. She's done a great job with our age group kids, bringing them on board and getting them going. She is our AG2 Gold coach and will be assisting AG3 this year. Coach Sheila has been our longtime AG3 coach. AG3 would be the 10 and under coach squads. She's been here actually longer than Coach Franz has been here. And she's done a great job of shepherding our 10 and unders through getting them ready, from a competitive standpoint to move on to the other age groups and beyond. And so she continues to be with us and continue to be a coach that we really rely on getting our kids ready at that young age. And Coach Sarah, who also have been with us for a couple of years, she is in charge of our Olympic Way program and is really helping with the kids that transition from a recreational type of swim environment into a competitive environment, making sure that they have the fundamental sound before they join our competitive squads. So those are our coaches for this year and assignments. All of the coaches will, if they haven't already, send out their coaches' emails to your swimmers or to you and your swimmers over email. There are expectations for what it means to be on a competitive squad that they would have set, including attendance. There is swimming gear that they really need as part of their training. And our recommendation is to follow for each of the age groups in each of the squads, what those gear requirements are to make sure that your kids have them. Each of the pieces of equipment that they actually put on that list are important to teach certain techniques, certain aspects of various strokes. And so it's actually very important that the kids have that gear for training. If you have any questions about the gear, talk to your coach about that, and they'll help explain, why it's there, why it's needed, and so on and so forth. If you need help ordering the gear, Swim Outlet is where we're actually steering a lot of our parents to, and I'll go over that a little bit later in the presentation. The one other comment I want to make about coaches, and I think this is sort of more philosophical about this, is that being a swimmer in a competitive team, there really is a triangle, right, between the swimmer, the parent, and the coach, right? All three really need to be on board with what is happening, right? And all three have very important roles to play in developing a successful swimmer, right? The coaches are there to coach. They're there to teach. They're there to help our swimmers along with their technique, help with their conditioning, provide advice on nutrition, prepare for them for swim meets, and then be at the swim meets to coach them as they go through the competitive process, right? Parents are there to ensure that swimmers are, getting the rest they need at home, getting the nutrition, getting them to practices and swim meets on time, and communicating with the coaches, right? If they have any questions or any issues. One of the things we really ask parents to do is to really communicate and be proactive with letting your coaches know if and when you're going to have any absences, especially when it comes for the swim meets, right? There is a lot of preparation work that the coaches need to do ahead of time to submit the entries in advance. There are relays that are run in relay teams that they'll set as part of the meets. And it's very important for the coaches to know who's going to be there for the relays. Otherwise, they're going to be scrambling around, and that's not fair to them. It's not fair to other swimmers that are there waiting for the teammate to show up. So please, 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 if you have any issues with attendance, all you need to do is just send them a note ahead of time. You can talk to them. They will work with you on that, right? And of course, swimmers, as sort of the third leg of that triangle, they're there to compete. They're there to swim, right? And we really want the swimmers to be ready to go, right? When you come to practice, be ready to practice. Be ready to swim, right? Try not to come late if possible, right? And be ready to focus and listen to coaches, do what they have to say, and then swim. If you have any questions or concerns, obviously, you're more than welcome to approach your coaches and talk to your parents about it, right? And so it really is a, three-pronged approach for how you develop and how you compete in a swim club. So any questions about that? Any questions about the coaches before I move on? If you're not asking a question, oh, is it? Is there a question? No. Okay. If you're not asking a question, can you please make sure you're muted? Thank you. All right, moving on. Board members. So as you know, the club is a volunteer-driven organization, and we do have a board of directors made up of parents of the club, and all of us are volunteers to sort of oversee the operations of the club, right? And we have a board of 10 members, each with different roles. So I'm Calvin, I'm the president. Amber is our vice president. Khan is our secretary, right? Stephanie is our AP treasurer. That's accounts payable. So she's the one that pays our bills, right? Any kind of rental fees for the pools, any of the salaries and paychecks to our coaches and so on and so forth. Any other fees or dues that we need to pay to OSI or USA Swimming, she helps with that. Saran is our accounts receivable. So she takes in any income that we have. So all of the membership dues, any kind of fundraising funds that come in, any of the fees that other teams pay to attend our swim meets, right? Saran is the one that takes the payments in, and make sure that it's deposited in our bank account and make sure everything's reconciled. Sydney, you should all be very familiar with. She's our membership board member.
Share those?
She
No.
has been.
Why?
Why? Because I like to listen to things, and I don't have anything to listen to things.
Again, if you're not asking a question, can you please make sure you're muted?
But you.
Actually, I will go ahead and mute. There we go. All right. You should all be familiar with Sydney, of course. She's our membership board member. She's been the one that's been coordinating all of the registration, helping you with questions about Safe Sport and DocuSign. And she's going to be the resource if you have any questions about any membership questions, right, regarding registration, any questions about squads, any questions if you have issues with logistics being part of the club, right? Andrea is our development board member. Development basically is the role that looks at our sponsorships, works with restaurants and hotels that we have hotels that we work with, that when other visiting teams come and visit us, we send them to the hotels that if they book rooms, then we get a kickback for that. Some of our hospitality and the food that we cater are sponsors that Andrea has found for us. And so not only will they donate food for the hospitality, but occasionally they'll also give us money. And we're looking actually for more sponsors in that regard. So she'll be working hard on that. Matt Miller is a new board member this year. He is taking on the role of operations. Operations takes care of all of our equipment that we have, as far as procurement, repair, and dealing with the budget around our capital assets, right? And so that's operations. Johan has been a long time club member. He is our meet referee, and he's right now an at-large member of the board. And Jerome is a new board member as well this year. He is also at-large board member, and he's going to be focusing more on the long-term strategic sort of view of where we currently are as a club and where we want to be, 3, 4, 5 years from now, right? So looking at some of those really long-term strategic initiatives. So, any questions? The president at, VP at, secretary at, that's sort of our short form. That's the email address. The after the at is thunderboltswimming.org. So that's how you get a hold of us if you have any questions. All right, let's move on. So some operational updates. The good news I have to share is that we know that there were some concerns about our fees this year, in that there's a new Oregon state policy where for swim clubs especially, we need to have a lifeguard on deck, and we can't have our coaches be lifeguards like we have been in the past. And so unfortunately, THPRD is passing along that, the fee or the amount of money it takes to actually staff the lifeguard to the clubs that are using the pool. We were worried last season that we would have to increase our membership fee to fund that. Well, the good news is that we are not increasing membership fees. The reason why we were able to actually do that is our membership itself. We're about 15 to 20 members more than we were at the same time last year. And those additional members actually help to keep our costs down, right? And so we didn't have to actually raise our membership fees. And our forecast going forward is that we're going to continue to grow. That's a good thing, right? Because the more members we have, that helps us control our costs. It gives us more funds to help keep our costs down to our members. So that's a really good thing. I think it's a really good sign for the health of our organization. We did have to increase our fundraising by up to $50 per athlete, depending on your squad. I think the senior squads are where you have $50. For some of the age group squads, it's going to be less than that. That's just a one-time increase. The fundraising is just a single line item, and so that's just an incremental update, and you should see that as part of the fundraising obligation you'll have there. But that, I think, out of the having to raise our membership fees by 10%, which was what we were worried about, I think is a little bit compared to that. So actually, we're really happy that we didn't have to increase our membership fees. The second item that I want to highlight, operationally speaking, is volunteers and volunteer opportunities. I know that we're always asking for volunteers, and I'm going to actually have a talk about that later on. But the difference this year compared to last year is that we were actually awarded the THSC OSI Short Course Senior Championship. Now, this is a good thing, by the way, right? We want to host in our pool these OSI state meets and championship meets, because not only is it our home pool, right? We're familiar with it. We actually get money from OSI for hosting it, right? And it's actually a really good revenue source for our club. Now, because this is an additional meet above and beyond what we normally would host, we will require an additional 5 hours per family from the AG2, AG1, and senior squads to help with that. And again, this is something we've always done in the past. Anytime we were awarded a championship like that, we would adjust our volunteer requirements to help with that. So that's one thing you'll see in the volunteer requirement, that it is 5 hours more than last year for each of those squads. Officials. Officials are actually one of the most critical volunteer positions that we need, not just from a, are there enough officials perspective. When you look at what you absolutely must have to run a swim meet, officials are one of those, right? Without officials, you can't actually put kids in the water. You can't register officials sometimes, right? And so officials are one of the most critical volunteer positions that we really need. And we really want to strongly encourage parents to sign up for training, right? And here's the thing, is that there are multiple opportunities for officials and multiple tracks, right? There are the officials that are there to, look at, the swimmers in the water. Are they touching the wall correctly? Are they stroked correctly? They're the ones that will make the decision or indicate, if a swimmer has DQ'd or not, right? So we really need those officials there to really make sure that the swimming is happening properly, right? If you're reluctant to go and DQ swimmers, then one of the things you can do is become work on the administrative side of things, right? Those are electronic timers. Those are your administration officials, right? They're the ones that work in the crow's nest and reconcile the time, right? It's very much about database. It's very much looking at the math and the times and reconciling what you see from the electronic timing system to what the timers are actually recording down. And then that's how unofficial time become official times, is those administrative officials are the ones that sign off and ensure and check those times, right? And so you can work in the crow's nest if you don't want to go on deck. There's training that Johan is going to be offering for these, and so if you are interested, and I strongly encourage folks to inquire about that, talk to Johan, send an email to Johan, and he will set you up or answer any additional questions you have about officiating. Last thing I want to mention from an operational update perspective is our Arena and Swim Outlet partnership. So Arena continues to be our swim gear sponsor and partner. They have a really good program that provides us a lot of benefits for sending our kids to buy their gear and using their gear. There's kickbacks to our club for gear that we provide them, and they come in the form of what they call value in kind, right? They give us a certain percentage back for the amount of purchases we do of their gear, and we can use that to purchase additional Arena gear that we would then, give out to swimmers, give out as, swag at meets, there's, or, prizes, right, for awards. They also give us discounts on gear that we order from their website. The one change from last year that I do want to mention is that Arena is really recommending that we use Swim Outlet as our online gear provider going forward versus their website. That's something that we're actually very happy to do, because we also have a partnership with Swim Outlet in that, they offer a lot of good services for clubs to set up their sort of front end gear ordering through them, right? They give us a kickback for the gear that we order through them. They also will work with Arena to let Arena know, when we order gear through some outlet, so that Arena can give us credit for that. And you can also take advantage of the yearly or regular discounts that Swim Outlet has. And oftentimes those discounts will be better than what Arena is able to offer. So the one thing I do ask for parents and swimmers, if you are ordering gear online through Swim Outlet, or please, you'll need to use the link here, the THSC specific link, in order for us to maximize that benefit. There's no way for Swim Outlet to report to Arena our purchases and to give us credit for that, both from a kickback perspective and also as a going to Arena, let them know that we've ordered from them, unless you order through that link. So any questions on any of these operational updates? One thing I will mention here is that if you look at the back of the presentation, I do have some more details about membership fees, fundraising, volunteer service hours. There's actually a chart of the hours. Here is a list of all the volunteer opportunities that we have on the club. So, if you don't want to do timer, if you don't want to work in hospitality, there's many other areas that we really need help with. And, please, we do need parents to help out on volunteering to make our meet go, make our club go. Officials, these are the 3 tracks that we talked about in training opportunities, Arena partnership, and some information about our swim attire and gear expectations. Right? All right, so let me go back up. So this presentation is linked to the website. If you go to the event site, there should be a link for this presentation. The other place that I recommend you go before I move on to the other sort of team talk I have is, I'll just pull it up real quick. If you go to our main website, actually, can you see this, the website? Let me try something. Everybody see the website?
Yes.
Great. If you go to the team site, go back to the website here. Right, team info, sorry, members, handbook, members club information handbook. Right, we just updated the parent handbook with a lot of details about the club, philosophy, mission statements, the team, equipment, dues and membership fees, fundraising, volunteering, club communication, and swim meets, right? Much more detail about our club, more than I'm able to cover in this meeting. And I highly recommend that folks, review this document if you haven't already. And, obviously, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to send a note to us. But there's a lot of good details in here that I want to direct your attention to. All right. And again, that's on our main website under membership club members club information handbook. Share this guy back here. All right. Any questions before I move on? All right. So this is the part where I get to get on my soapbox a little bit and talk about the clean team, our culture, community, and communication. Right. I call it the 3 C's. This is, I've been on the board for a couple of years, and this is the first year that I'm team president. And one of the things that I've been thinking about, as I come on board in this position is really, what do I want to focus on, right? Sort of what are the areas that I really would like us as a club to really think about and improve, right? And ideas to really help get our club in a position better than it was before, right? Because frankly speaking, since COVID, right, we really have been in a recovery period. Last year was the first full year since COVID that we were actually able to run a full program with swim practices, swim meets. And I remember at the beginning of the year, even though sort of COVID was on the on the downward trend and we're all getting back to normal, it still took a fair amount of effort to sort of relearn how to do things like we used to, right? COVID itself, in the time period during COVID, was a big hit for the health of our club, not just individually and our families and our swimmers and the limited amount of time we had in the pool, but as an organization, right? Because when you don't have the opportunity to interact with people, you lose that cohesion, you lose that the social aspects, right, of how you work together as a club, how we work as a team. And so last year I view as sort of our let's relearn how to do things and get us back to a more stable sort of place. And I think we're there now, right? And I think we really need to now look at, well, how do we now go from there? Where do we go from there, right? And what do we need to do to continue the improvement, right? To continue to get better than we were before, right? And not just quote unquote tread water, but really learn, get back to really swimming, right? And thriving. And so in that regard, I really have 3 things that I'm looking to focus on this year, right? Culture is something that we always focused on before, so this is nothing new, to be honest, but I think it's still important to focus on the team culture, right? And there's 3, this THSC competitive swim team committed athletic excellence is the first sentence of our vision, right? And I really wanted to highlight 3 words here, right? Competitive, team, and excellence, right? Competitive, because we are a competitive swim team. There are expectations we have of the 3 pillars that I talked about, right? There are expectations for swimmers, expectations on coaches, and expectations on parents, right? We really, all 3 areas really need to commit to the, working hard for each other and working together to really build the competitive aspect of this team, right? And team, of course, is inherent in what you need to do to make that happen, right? But it's not just about your swimmer, your coach, and you, right? It's also about the team as a whole, right? Swimming is inherently an individual sport, right? Because you have your individual time. Maybe relays, there's a team aspect to it, but 90% of the time, it's your time, right? However, team is important here too, right? If you look at the best swim meets I found and the best teams that I see, right, are out there. You have your squad cheering for you as a swimmer is swimming, right? I mean, imagine how encouraging that is, how much motivation that is for the swimmer in the water when you have your teammates cheering you on, right? Your teammates are also the ones that will help you when you're struggling in practices, right? Let's say you've had a bad day. Let's say you're tired, right? Well, that's where your teammates, your squad mates can rally behind you, give you the encouragement to really do better and do more, right? And so I really want to make sure that we focus on that team aspect, that we're really building each other up. One other aspect of team that I'm really trying to encourage is the legacy you want to build from the senior swimmers to the AG swimmers, right? In that, the senior swimmers, you have been around the club for a very long time. You know what it's like to be, for some of you, know what it's like to be an age group swimmer, right? And those age group swimmers really look up to you, right? As a senior swimmer, they listen to you, right? They want to be you when they become on the senior squads, right? That's what they want to be. And so we really want you to provide a stamp and provide your stamp to those AG swimmers to bring them along, right? To encourage them, to help them out, right? And we're going to be looking for opportunities to make that happen. As an age group swimmer, right? Like I said, we want to look at our older swimmers and say, and encourage them and help them, cheer them on, and talk to them, engage with them, right? Because you're learning, you want to learn how to do that, and you want to help, you want to return some of the favors they give to you, right? As far as giving you and encourage them on their swimming as well, right? And so that's where I think we need to look just beyond, ourselves and look at it as a team, right? Because at the end of the day, athletic excellence is what we're trying to build, right? Excellence and our pillars of success, right? Respect, honesty, responsibility, integrity, teamwork, right? And team first. That's really how we succeed. That's why we build excellence. So that team culture is something I really want to make sure we're focusing on going forward. Community, right? As sort of our second C. What is the community, right? And I want to offer that our club is uniquely positioned to provide a valuable and important service to our community. And the community are the people that use the pool. Our community are the broader swimming community, right? We're one of the largest clubs in Oregon. I think we're third largest right now, right? And we have one of the best facilities in the state, in the region for that matter, right? We host these championship meets. We sometimes hold a regional championship meet like we did this last summer, right? And we have the equipment, beautiful scoreboard, timing equipment. We have the expertise, right? With our officials, with our equipment folks, with our courses, with our officials on deck and so on and so forth, to run these meets, right? Run meets that are 500, 600, 700 swimmers that are there, right? And not a lot of teams can do that. And so we are uniquely positioned to provide that service. And so that impact is actually felt positively, right? One of the meets that we actually run as an explicit community service event is the high school metro meet, right? So a district meet for high schools. As you know, our high schools in Beaverton especially don't have their own pools. They have to use the pools in the community, right? And therefore, they don't have the capability to run large meets like that, right? And so we actually we donate our equipment, we donate our time. THPRD donates the pool to run that metro meet for our high schools, right? And so we do ask help to run that. But community, I think, is one of the reasons why we should be doing these things, right? Volunteering, I know it takes a lot of time out of our schedule. And although it is a quote unquote requirement, one of the things I want to encourage folks to really focus on is that we're volunteering not because we have to, we're volunteering because we want to. We want to contribute positively. We are uniquely, we have the capability, we have the opportunity, we have the privilege to be able to serve the community through the time that we spend there, right? So bottom line from the community aspect is, we volunteer not because we have to, but because we want to, because of the community service aspect and what we're actually doing for the broader community, right? The third C is communication. One of the things I have heard in assuming this position, and actually before assuming this position, is that communication is one of the areas that we really need to improve in the club, right? And it is key, whether it's the culture aspect of it or the community aspect of it, to success, right? And we need to have strong communication between swimmers, parents, coaches, and the board, right? I have some ideas. I've talked to people. They've given me some ideas about how we want to improve over the course of the season, and I'm planning to roll those out as we go forward, right? However, well, in addition to that, we welcome any additional feedback and suggestions that you may have, right? The email addresses that are there, any board member is more than willing to talk or respond or receive these suggestions. The president email is there. Feel free to send me a note, and I'm more than willing to entertain additional feedback and suggestions for communications. If you see something that isn't working correctly, that we need to improve, let us know, and we'll do our best to try to shore that up. But I really want us to make sure that we're focused on communication. Again, going back to the COVID thing, we really lost a lot of the interactions, right, with people, the face-to-face time that we have. That's really key in communication. And as everybody knows, we live in a very divisive culture these days, right? And there's no better way to overcome that divisiveness than communicating with people, right? Than listening, than sharing ideas constructively, right? That's how we communicate. That's how we build community. That's how we build our culture, right? And so I really want to encourage parents and swimmers, communicate, talk to your coaches, talk to other parents, swimmers talk to other swimmers, right? When you see people in the hallway, when you see in the hallway of schools, when you see other parents at grocery stores, right? Strike up a conversation, right? That's how, and communicate, right? That's how we sort of get back to where we were before. That's how we build our community. That's how we build our culture, right? And that's how we learn. That's how we improve. So that's my spiel on communication. Any questions or comments? So that's actually all I had to share for today and for registration. So most of you should have already gotten the emails, like I said. I believe the swimmers should already be in the water. If you have any issues or questions, of course, let us know. Any issues with registration, let Sydney know. Are there any additional questions? If not, as mentioned, let me go ahead and do another, let me share the website again. So on the website, if you go to the Zoom meeting, it'll be in the past meetings. But if you look at the Zoom meeting, the registration presentation that I shared is here. You're more than welcome to review it. If you have any follow-up issues or questions, of course, I've pointed you to the handbook. The one other area that I want to let folks know is that if you didn't make it to the season kickoff meeting to pick up your t-shirts and your cap, the team store folks will be there this Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. in the dryland room, right? So you can pick up your gear. We have the three t-shirts, the white, the gray, and the black, as well as your swim cap. So again, stop by the pool this Saturday from 9 to 10, and you'll be able to pick those up. All right. Any questions or comments? If not, then we are done. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.